Hey everybody, welcome back to Bookish Daddy. Today we are going to be doing my August wrap-up and the September TBR. I'll go ahead and preface this with saying that I have a lot of plans coming up with vlogs and things on my reading list. So this is kind of a TBR hoping I can get to them. I thought it would be fun to pick 3 books. It's been a long time since we've done the drawing jar. So I'm going to use that, and we'll pick a couple books after I go over the ones I read this month. And that being said, let's get into it. The first book I want to go over is the one I just finished. I talked about it a little bit on the last video, and it is Warriors of the Wild by Trisha Levenseller. That is that book. This was a 5-star read, easily. It was so much fun. This is a YA romance, more so just like a YA book. It is a romance, but it's very, very not just closed door, but kind of sprinkled in. This is about a young Viking girl. She's a teenager and she gets banished to the wilderness. And while she's out there, she's living on her own. She is picking berries, trapping animals, surviving with all these crazy, it's not just regular animals out in the wild here. There's a bunch of weird creatures, venomous creatures, and it's not just like our landscape. And there is a god who survives out in the wild, who kind of runs all the villages, and she's dealing with that. And she runs into someone out in the woods. It was so fun, super cute. Like I said, it's closed door. The violence isn't crazy. It's really just about this young girl trying to make it on her own in the wilderness. She's been trained to be a warrior, unlike all the other girls in her village who chose different paths than that. Most of them being like clothes and jewelry or bakers and stuff like that. And she wanted to be seen differently in her father's eyes because he didn't get a son. And that's what this is about. Super good. The next book I'm going to go over is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This was a 5-star. Actually, I'll say this was a 6-star read. This duology was phenomenal. It's the best duology I've ever read, and it's got to be in my top 5 for like favorite series ever. I've been over the first book, so I can't really go over this one much because it's the second in a series. It is dark fairy tale. It's so freaking good. I'll say just like the last book, the romance in this is super cute. It's all, it's not very smutty, nothing like that. It does have violence, and the language isn't too bad. They only curse a couple times in the whole series. Yeah, that's this book. The next book is Renegades, and it is by Marissa Meyer. I've heard that her Heartless series, or I think it's a bunch of Disney books, are very good. I gave this book 4 stars. This is a dystopian villain and hero series. If you want to know more about this and the next 2 books, go to my previous vlog. I go way too in-depth on all of these books, and so I'm not giving spoilers or anything. That is what this was about. And it is a YA dystopian as well. And it is super good. The next book I read was The Starless Crown, and it is by James Rollins. And this is a high fantasy thriller. I gave this one 4 stars as well. This is a lot more dark. I'm not going to go in depth, but I will give a warning for those of you wanting to read it. It is, when it comes to some of the violence and some of the scenes, it is very graphic. They do also curse in this one, and there is no smut, nothing like that. This is just a very strict high fantasy thriller. Super fun, very unique world, and I loved this book. I can't wait to read the second book. It is very, very cool, and you can tell that the author primarily writes thrillers, so I thought it was super cool to see him write a fantasy. The last book I no longer own, so it is Hello Stranger I went over this in the vlog. I'll say it again. I gave it 3 stars, which for me was being generous. I did not like this book. I gave it to a little free library, and so it's not even in here anymore. It is a romance. I don't even know if you could call it a romance. It is a romance, but there's no lightheartedness. There's no comedy. It's not a rom-com, anything like that. It's very serious matters. A lot of dealing with medical issues, and it is just, boy, it is not my typical read, and I did not enjoy it. I did it for the vlog video, and yeah, I gave it 3 stars because it was well written. I could see people loving this book. I really can, because if you're into that, I think that it was done well. I'm just not into that type of book. I don't like serious books. I don't like sad books, and I just, that's just not my type of romance. I like the rom-coms. I like the smutty books. I don't typically read just sad romances. That is all I read this month. I wasn't able to read too much. Let's get into the TBR video. Got my handy dandy jar, and I'm going to pick some prompts and grab a book off my shelves. We'll pick 3 of them, and that's how we're going to do it. The first prompt is a book with a beautiful cover. Oh man, that's a good one. I've got a ton of books with beautiful covers. All right, so I think that this cover is not only beautiful, it was so well done. It's so cute, and I had to get this on my TBR immediately. It is Love and Other Conspiracies by Mallory Marlowe. That's the cover. I'm dying to read this book. This is why I picked it. This is a rom-com, like I was just saying. That is what I'm into lately. And conspiracy theories are my favorite. I think they're funny, super entertaining, and that is what this is about. He believes in conspiracies and all these crazy things like Sasquatch and Mothman, but he does not believe in love. And he gets an editor who is open to conspiracies, but is looking for love. So read this to see if they find it. I can't wait to read this book. Mallory Marlowe, too. I think this is her first or second book. Go look her up and support her, because this book is beautiful, and I can't wait to read this book. The next prompt is going to be a book that is read. That's very, very specific. My daughter wrote that. You can tell by the beautiful handwriting. Let's see, a book that is read. All right, so a book with a red cover. I ran around and scavenged, and I'm picking The Temptation of Magic by Megan Scott, which is one of the Fairy Loot books I got on the YA list. It is dark academia. A quick synopsis of this is this girl is born with the power to kill any supernatural. However, she cannot use this power because she knows that there are a bunch of people higher up in the school that are looking for someone who can hunt supernaturals for them, and they can sense magic. So if she were to ever use her powers, they're going to seek her out and force her to be their hunter and hunt down supernaturals. And she doesn't want that. And then one day she accidentally uses her powers. That's all I know about this book. Other than that, I know it's dark academia. It's beautiful. It's red. And the last academia book I read was, what's it called? Ninth House. And boy, I did not like it. So I'm hoping this will be better. I didn't like it because it is academia, but it is a medical academia. And same with that romance. The medical field is just not for me. So I didn't enjoy it. Hopefully I do this one. The last prompt, because I'm just going to do 3 for this video. A book that has an animal in it. This is this one with a little smiley face and a heart. And I already know which one I'm going to pick for this. It's a book with an animal in it. And this is The Candid Chronology Chronology. Book 1, A Journey's Beginning by Angola Hone. And this is that book. It is about, I would assume it's YA just by the cover. Maybe not. This is about a red-tailed fox in a fantasy realm where there's ruffian raccoons and brigand bears and snarl-toothed wolves, and the oldest foe, man, comes in and mixes things up, and a bunch of magic animals have to figure out what to do. This fox ends up on a journey out by himself. I don't know. This was sent to me by an indie author. I have been dying to read something like this for fall. I think it would be super cute to read a fantasy fox book. Go support Angola Hone because I'm all about supporting indie authors, and I'll let you know how this book is. It's a nice, short, pretty book, and I cannot wait to read this either. That's why I went ahead and grabbed it. Yeah, so the 3 books we're doing is The Candid Chronology, The Temptation of Magic, and the one I'm most excited for, Love and Other Conspiracies. That's a pretty good list. I mean, it's the ones I've been wanting to read, so I got lucky with my prompts. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for all your support, all the comments, the subscriptions, the likes, the book mail. You guys have been amazing. And the BookTube community has been so awesome, especially to me and my family. Y'all have been super sweet and supportive of me and my wife. Man, thank you all so much. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. I know you guys will. You have been, and I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great week.